Conor McGregor gave his prediction for the 155-pound title match. Islam Oliveira. Do you guys know this? Do you know what he said? Because I want to drag this out if you don't. What do you think he said? I'm going to tell you in just a second, but what do you think? I'll give you a clue. He was very definitive. He did not hedge at all. As a matter of fact, he said it was not going to be close. Who do you think Conor went with? Islam is a 3-1 favorite, just to remind you. Who do you think Conor went with? Charles. Said it's not going to be close. I believe the word he used was decisive. He might have used the word easily. It meant the same thing, right? That's a big claim, because if a fight isn't going to be close, what is Conor saying? If a fight isn't close, do you knock him out? Do you submit him? Do you TKO him? If a fight's not close, it probably lends towards a finish, or at a minimum, a complete domination. What do you guys think? I mean, that's a bit of a surprise, particularly considering Charles is the 3-1 dog, and at one point was 3.5 to 1. There's a lot on the line going into this, and it's really important to me that this story be told accurately, which it's not. There's a number of things about this story that people are choosing to ignore. But all the chips are in, guys. There's no higher stakes game than a fist fight on pay-per-view, period. Particularly when the World Championship is on the line. There is no higher stakes. Whatever you've got, it's all in. That other guy is going to tweak everything. Every dream, every goal, every minute, every second, every hour, weeks, months, years that you spent preparing for this, he's going to take it all. One guy leaves with the house. But I don't feel that we've all put our chips on the table. I mean, this is a massive battle between Jiu-Jitsu and Sambo. And Sambo isn't coming out and trying to get credit ahead of time because their guy's a 3-1 dog. And Jiu-Jitsu isn't even mentioning it because they're not sure that their guy's techniques work. You have two sides that are scared. Now, I am a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. I am a professor under Fabiano Scherner, which is extremely hard to do. I will cling and I will back up my craft. But I will tell you, it never ceases to surprise me how many people have dedicated their life. They believe it. They wear the t-shirts around. They pay the membership dues. They go to the gym. Whether they enter the tournaments on Saturday or they're just there to support, this becomes their life, but they don't actually believe it. I mean, when it's time to get down and back it, we're going to see Jiu-Jitsu versus Sambo, period. We haven't seen this matchup before. These boys are going to the ground. We know this ahead of time. But Sambo isn't coming out saying, keep your eye on us, and Jiu-Jitsu isn't willing to risk what's at stake here. Which is definitive evidence. Jiu-Jitsu has gone as far as to say that Oliveira is the best Jiu-Jitsu player in MMA. I believe I heard Joe Rogan say that. I might be misquoting. Somebody from the announce team for sure said it. Now, I would be a little confused. I would like to hear how they got to that equation. Of anybody I could take out of the UFC and put in Abu Dhabi, and I expect them to bring home first, second, or third, right? Be in the medal hunt. I don't believe Oliveira is going to be the guy that you put forward. So when you say he has the best jiu-jitsu in MMA, is that like St. Pierre had the best wrestling? Because St. Pierre's not going to go make a national team in Canada. But as far as MMA wrestling, there was nobody near as effective as George. So is that what they're talking about? Are they talking about how he uses his length, how he'll slip an elbow in, which is very devastating. If you can strike and lock up submissions at the same time, if you get that Tony Ferguson level where you're a double threat, it's a big deal. Maybe that's what they meant. But why is that not on the table? And why do we keep acting like this is a title defense by Charles Oliveira? It's not. Charles Oliveira is not the champion. Charles Oliveira doesn't even need to show up that night, and we're going to contest the undisputed championship, not an interim. Charles Oliveira can stay home, and we're going to contest. And I only say it to you because he's not the champion. He's an opportunity to become a two-time world champion. People aren't wanting to put that on the table. They will on Monday morning when it's done. They'll be happy to say 2 and an X and Oliveira. So they'll be happy to do it later, but they don't seem to want to risk it and put it on the table now. That's underhanded. You try that in Vegas, you're cheating. If you say I'm all in, don't show me some chips up your sleeve. Put them on the goddamn table and let's go all in. The sport of judo has been a miserable failure in our history in mixed martial arts. Possibly the number one fail ever. Now, Taekwondo has never been greatly represented. I will admit that. They never really threw their hat in the ring. But judo has not only never won a championship. Please, I understand Rhonda and Kayla. I understand that. In the men's division, judo not only has never won a championship. I'm bringing them all in, guys. You go back to the WEC, bring me Strikeforce. Tell me about Pride. Bring in King of the Cage and Gladiator Challenge if you want to. Bring in the UFC, bring in a Latex C. Bring in one championship any way you want to do it. Judo has never won a championship. As a matter of fact, judo has never even contested for a championship, meaning judo never had a practitioner even make it to a championship match. Not just not win it, they never even made it to the match. Now, if you start to learn the rules and the history of judo, you'll quickly understand it's a waste of time. Judo is watered down jiu-jitsu. Somewhere along the way, they decided jiu-jitsu is too hard to train. You've got the reefs, you got the knee, you got the stuff with the ankles and the twists and the turns and the reefs. And they said, do jiu-jitsu in competition, but when you train, do it in judo. So judo is watered down jiu-jitsu. Now, I don't hate it, and I'm not looking to put it down. I'm telling you the history of judo. It's very relevant. In 1980, which ended up being boycotted, we had 4 wrestlers who were all JV at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State was a national champion team, but these guys weren't in the starting lineup. They're drinking beers on a Friday. They read a flyer that the Olympic trials for judo were the next day. They go get the gear together. They enter. All 4 of them made the team. They'd never done it before. All 4 of them became Olympians. We ended up boycotting. Now, in 2008, much more recent, the Mongolian heavyweight didn't make the freestyle team, which was his goal. He switched to judo with no preparation. He not only made the team, he won the Olympic championship. I could tell you a judo player is one of the most famous of all time. I'm not, because I'm not looking to embarrass him. But he decided he's going to do MMA. 2-time Olympic champion. I mean, this guy was decorated out of France. He came into the Rain Training Center and he rolled with a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. I would tell you the guy's name if I could. That purple belt twisted this guy up every which way but loose. Now, I'm not looking to put judo down, guys. Everything I just said is true. It's just the reality. And if we're not going to learn from the experiment that we started in 1993, I don't really know what the whole point of this was. What I just said was true. With that said, judo greatly surpasses in superiority and usefulness Sambo. Greatly passes up Sambo. But the Russian military uses Sambo. So you will have the boys from Dagestan, Khabib specifically, Islam, say that they're representing Sambo. I can't stop them. Like if that's what they want to argue that they're representing, I can't stop them, and neither can you. That's what it is. They've dedicated and they're telling people this is what it is. This is what they put down. Sambo. So you now have Sambo versus Jiu-Jitsu. Sambo does have a level of success. I haven't seen a lot of Sambo done, but I got 2 guys in Khabib and the heir apparent named Islam that are claiming Sambo. So we got to give it to Sambo. We have to. So you now have Sambo versus Jiu-Jitsu. And if you come from the school of thought that Charles, he's got this great jiu-jitsu, it's good enough, Charles can start on the ground. If you come from that school of thought, I feel as though you haven't been watching since 1993. That would be amazing. If from his back, from a guard position, Charles could finish Islam. It would be absolutely amazing. But there's nothing historically that would make you think that. Now the question becomes a little bit easier. Can Islam pass his guard? If he does, very bad. Can Islam pound him and put Charles on the defense? If so, very bad. If he can do that round after round, if it's rinse and repeat. But these are the kinds of things that are at stake. And I realize Sambo has stayed very quiet. They're not sure they're going to win. And I realize Jiu-Jitsu never wants to get off their biscuit and risk it. They don't back anybody up ever until it's done. I understand those things, but you need to also understand these are on the table. This is Sambo versus Jiu-Jitsu. Which is better? Which is better for groundwork? Which is better for takedown? Which is better for escapes? Which is better for defenses? That is on the line. And that story never gets old. And why people don't want to, I don't fully understand. And I don't fully get why you wouldn't want to do it. I watched the wrestling community come out. Proud of Khamzat Chimaev, proud of Bo Nickel. Saying ahead of time, we'll take on anybody, we'll beat anybody. Doesn't go your way, put your head down, shake his hand. Come back, try again. Sambo versus Jiu-Jitsu are on display here. Conor McGregor believes this is going to be definitive. Now, Conor is also personalizing. Conor is not a specialist. Conor personally dabbles in everything. And that is a certain philosophy, and guys will cling to that. And there has been eras within our sport, several eras, where that is the right answer. Whoever the more dynamic guy, whoever can mix it up and split it up more has the advantage. We're in a different era right now. We're in the era of the specialist, of the Chimaev, of the Islam, who can take absolutely everybody down and go from there. I can eliminate 50% of the possible tactics by taking them down and nobody can stop it. Is that what's going to happen here? Is Islam as good on his feet as the reports out of the training room say? I didn't know Charles Oliveira was as good as Charles Oliveira is. Am I about to go through that again? Am I about to have to stand back and say, my God, this guy, I knew he was great. I learned how good he was when he beat Gaethje. Now I'm seeing he's even better than all of that. Maybe. And I'm open to it. I don't have a horse in this race. I'm going to enjoy the contest, but we're going to learn something from the contest. And let's not be chickens ahead of time. Let's not try to give the outcome that we wish happened. Let's not try to give the lead into the fight, as far as the story goes, the way we wish it would have happened. Let's say what's happening. There is no champion. Islam is the chosen heir apparent from the king. His name is Khabib. Charles Oliveira has a chance to be a two-time champion of the world. Sambo versus Jiu-Jitsu. That's what this is. One of those arts is going to win, and one of those arts is going to lose.